Hey friends, how you all doing? It's a beautiful morning here in Hyderabad and I thought I'll go on a motorbike ride on my KTM Duke 390. However, I just realized that it has been 1 year since I bought this motorbike and I thought I'll do a video for you all so that I can let you all know what are the good things and the bad things about this motorbike that I like. So let us start with the bad things because good things we know a few. Well, they're not exactly bad things, but I would like to talk about things that I personally am not very happy about and a few things that many of my friends and other KTM Duke owners always talk about. Here we go. What are the things in this motorbike that I'm not a big fan of, or some things that can be improved, or the things that should have been better? Number one, the physical throttle here. This has just too much play. You see this? Every KTM Duke 390 has this. This can be fixed. There are different ways to do it. However, it shouldn't have been like this. KTM and Bajaj should have done a better job on the throttle. Number two, there's no option of putting on the hazard indicators, which is a must for a motorbike to have, because when you're doing group rides, the person who's leading would have to put on the hazard lights so that the riders behind him get alerted in case of any kind of a danger. Number three, the fuel tank capacity. Well, this motorbike has a fuel tank which has about 10.5 liters and usable is about, I believe, 9.5 liters or 10 liters, which is not much of fuel because if you're doing long touring. So I wish this motorbike had a bigger tank, at least a 12-liter tank, not a 10.5-liter tank. Point number four, the seat. This seat is fantastic when it comes to doing a track day, racing. However, when you're doing long rides, this seat is not something which is very comfortable. It is a very hard seat. It did take a toll on my body when I was doing the solo ride from Hyderabad to Bangalore and Chennai. So till about 400 or 500 kilometers, this seat would be alright, but after that, it does take a toll on your body. It hurts. Number five, the most favorite complaint that almost every other person has about KTM is the alloy wheels. Yes, I do agree to a point that these alloy wheels could have been a little harder. I mean, harder in the sense could have been of a compound that can take our Indian potholes. However, KTM chose to put on racing alloy wheels onto this one. These are really lightweight alloy wheels, so we got to be very careful when we are riding this motorbike on bad roads. There's no issue if you're doing wheelies. You can pop huge wheelies. I don't pop wheelies on this motorbike, but generally if you go to a KTM Orange Day, they do pop huge wheelies. So that kind of an impact is fine. However, if there's a sharp edged pothole and if you go into that pothole at about 80 or 100 kilometers an hour, these alloys, they crack. Also, the tires. Point number six. The tires, one is they are very low profile. So they are about 55, the profile size. They are really good for racing. When you have to corner, doing really hard cornering, that is when low profile tires help because they have very strong sidewalls. But for general city street riding, these low profile tires, what they do is they can't really absorb any impact from the ground, and that also contributes towards the alloy wheels cracking. However, what many people are doing is after they are done with the stock tires, they are moving on to Michelin or some other brands which have a higher ratio of the profile size. So they are getting 70 profile size, which can certainly help in many cases. Also, again, Metzola tires, which come as standard on KTM Duke 390, they are fantastic for fast rides, hard cornering, but this Ray tire, I think it lasts about 10,000 kilometers. Some people have done 12, 13 also, but generally I would say about 10,000 kilometers. So for someone who does a lot of commuting on this motorbike or does a lot of touring, this tire is going to be something which he would have to replace very often. So that is going to be expensive, and that is another reason many people are moving to Michelin or different tires. But I personally, as I don't commute much, I think I would stick to Metzler's. Point number 7. So the exhaust note. KTM Duke 390 has a belly exhaust as stock, and I personally have never been a fan of the exhaust note. I like the belly exhaust because the center of gravity is right in the middle of the motorbike and it's very low, so I like it for the reasons of physics. However, the exhaust note, I personally don't like it. Many people like it. So that is the reason I've gone ahead and put an aftermarket exhaust. And this one, it sounds fine. I like it. I've got a few videos where you can check out the sound of this exhaust. Point number 8. This motorbike has ABS, which is really good technology. However, they do not have an ABS switch on off button, which is something you can do on the go when you're riding the motorbike. And if you need to cut off the ABS for whatever reason, you do not have a physical button here. You have a hidden button here, and that is something which you would have to do when you're just about to start the motorbike. So I wish they had a physical button here which we could put on and off while we were riding the motorbike. Point number 9. So this is something I don't know if many of you are aware of, because I personally clean and lube my chain, the drive sprocket, so I'm aware of this. That is, when you have to get this cover of the drive sprocket out, you would have to remove these bolts, and if you have to remove these bolts, you would be exposing the engine area. These bolts connect to an area where the oil sump is there, and oil sump is much below, but if you remove these bolts, this area directly connects to the engine. So that is not something which I really like, because when you remove this cap, remove these bolts, and when you're working, and by mistake if you put some water into those holes or some insect gets into that, it is not something you want to get into your engine. Point number 10. Many people have had issues with the oil seals. All of a sudden their oil seals start to leak on the front forks here. And however, not every motorbike had this problem. I believe only the first few KTM Duke 390s that were launched in India had issue with the oil seals. Even I had an issue with the oil seals. I had to get it replaced. But the good thing is that you get them replaced under warranty. So now, point number 13. Do you see this dent here on the header exhaust pipe? I do not like that. They have done it, KTM has done this to accommodate the frame and the exhaust header pipe together, but it doesn't look good cosmetically, and they should have found a different way to do it. I know it's not easy. If they had to keep the motorbike compact, they had to do something, but I do not like this. So it's okay, we can live with it, but it could have been better. Point number 14. I personally do not have a huge issue with this. However, many people do. Many KTM Duke 390 owners do. That is the positioning of the rear brake pedal. They say it's kind of awkward, and I did feel it. It was a little awkward. However, we can live with it. I do not know how to correct it because it goes with the whole design of the motorbike. But I'm mentioning this because many people did not like this, and I did feel it, that it was a little challenging. Point number 15. The clutch. It's a complaint by many of the KTM Duke 390 owners that the clutch is very hard. Well, to be frank, I personally did not find it very hard. Could be because I have been riding liter class motorbikes for quite a while now, and they have much harder clutch. So considering that, I don't find this clutch very hard, but I can understand if you are coming from a smaller motorbike to the KTM Duke 390 directly, this clutch lever would feel pretty hard for you, and there isn't really something which we can do about it because this is a considerably big engine. This is a 373cc engine, and this engine would have a bigger clutch unit. It would have a bigger bell, bigger hub, bigger friction plates, pressure plates, and to handle all that you would need much bigger springs, and the clutch would generally be a little hard. So this is something which KTM can take as a feedback, and if possible they can make it a little lighter in their next Duke 390 models. And point number 16, the engine heat. Every person has got a problem with that. I personally can understand why this motorbike generates heat, because this is a high compression engine, and any engine which is high compression produces a bigger bang in the power stroke, and that results in more heat. And this is something which is there with any motorbike you buy. It could be Japanese, European, any motorbike that produces higher amount of horsepower, that would generally have this kind of a heating issue. So there's nothing much we can do about it. All that we can do is ride the motorbike in not so bad traffic. Just keep moving. Even if you're moving at 20 kilometers an hour, you would still be okay. You would not get the high coolant temperature warning. Point number 17, the service intervals. This motorbike has a service interval of 5,000 kilometers. So you would have to do an oil change, an oil filter, and the general checkup and everything for air filter every 5,000 kilometers. That is something which I do not understand, because we are using good quality fully synthetic oil on this motorbike, and the primary reason to use fully synthetic oil is because fully synthetic oil has got a longer life. Usually mineral oil is what you have 5,000 service intervals for, and semi-synthetic can do about 8,000 plus, even 10,000 sometimes. Fully synthetic oil can do 15,000, and I'm not saying KTM should have a 15,000 service interval, but they could have had at least 8,000 to 10,000, but 5,000 kilometers is just too less. Because if you're someone who's again doing a lot of commuting and touring, then you would have to do the service very often. Well, you can choose not to do this service at 5,000 kilometers, and you can go all the way up to even 8 or 9,000 kilometers. But again, if your motorbike is under warranty, and if you don't get the oil change done at 5,000, every 5,000, then your warranty would get voided. So that is something which I'm not very happy about, that I don't understand. So these were the points that I'm not very happy about, but I can live with. So now let us speak about the good things about this motorbike. We are, which many of us already know, that is, of course, getting a motorbike like this with 44 horsepower, and which can do 0 to 100 in 5.5 seconds, which weighs only about 140 kilograms, for about 2,07,000 rupees on road, is an unbelievable price. And we also get Metzeler tires, which cost about 20 plus thousand rupees if you buy a set outside, and you get them as stock on this motorbike. You get good brakes, you get ABS, which even motorbikes which cost about 4 lakh rupees don't have. So, and the same motorbike, the KTM Duke 390 in Europe, sells for about 5,000 euros or even more. So it's almost like 5 lakhs there, and here we are getting for 2,07,000, which is less than half the price. So the good points, of course, the value for money, acceleration, fantastic handling, and this motorbike is an all-round machine. You can commute to work You can go around the city without too much of an issue, because if you are riding a big motorbike, a super sport or something, it's not easy to ride in the city. We all know about that. So this motorbike can be ridden in the city, taken onto highways. You can cruise at 140 kilometers an hour. You can do top speeds of 170 plus. You can go to a racetrack, do a track day, and I did a track day in Chennai MMSE racetrack. It was fantastic. And this motorbike handles really well and really good to corner. It really gives you a lot of confidence. And spare parts, one of the biggest advantage. If you buy a Kawasaki Ninja or any other motorbike which has imported spare parts, then they're not cheap to buy. So usually in a service replacing brake pads, or if there's any spare part that needs to be replaced, if it fails, then you would have to spend a lot of money on other brands. But KTM, as KTM spare parts are made by Bajaj in India, we get them for unbelievably low price. For example, the brake pads, they only cost about 300 rupees for front. Unbelievable, 300 rupees, and they're good brake pads. And the oil filter, it costs about 79 rupees. I couldn't believe it. Spark plug is about 100 rupees, and it's like unbelievably low prices for everything. So my list for good things can just keep going on and on and on. So that is all about it from my side. And do let me know if you have any questions. If you would like to buy this motorbike, I can certainly help you out by answering your questions. And have a good day. I have not been well for about 4 days now. I've had very bad fever, cold, a viral infection. So I might not have been able to present this video very well because I'm going out of breath when I'm talking right now. So please excuse me if the video isn't as good as it should be. So, and that's it. Thank you.